Hey everyone, I don't know if you know what a Murph workout is, but today you're about to find out. We have Matt Zhang on the phone with us. He had a YouTube video go viral with 4.5 million views, and we get to hear from him today. Welcome to Morning Mindset. Hey, what's up everyone? So today we have Matt Zhang on the phone with us today, and I'm really excited for what Matt has to share with us. So Matt, how are you doing?
Hey Levi, thank you guys so much for having me on the show today.
Yeah.
I am doing pretty well, taking it day by day. I'm back
Right
home
on.
in the suburbs of Chicago now, so.
Okay, right on, man. Well, Matt, tell me something good. Tell me something good today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start with something bad that turned into good.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So, well, as it is with kind of a lot of universities across the country, a lot of those universities have sent all the students home. And at school, I lead an a cappella group.
Okay.
And so when the Vanderbilt made the decision to really send everyone home, we had about 20 different performances and gigs and concerts lined up for the rest of the year. And with one email, that kind of all went poof.
Yeah.
But which was definitely disappointing at first. But I think with us, we really tried to make the best out of a tough situation. So we actually published this. We realized that we didn't really have to be together physically on campus to sing.
Yeah.
So we published this Zoom conference call style of an a cappella cover. And
Wow.
About a week ago, yeah. And that eventually got picked up by Good Morning America, ABC News.
No way.
Yeah, so it really has been cool to see. I think a lot of other musical groups across the country as well have been kind of taking our idea and sharing their own music as well. So
Wow.
that's definitely good. Yeah.
That is amazing. So what made you, okay, so you lead an a cappella group.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going on with COVID-19. You're sent home,
Yes.
right? Vanderbilt shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are like, let's just shift and let's continue to make music. Is that kind of what you guys thought of?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. So my a cappella group over spring break this year, which happened in March, we had planned a tour through Beijing and Shanghai. And so we had planned that all throughout the fall semester for 4 to 5 months. And come January, we realized that, hey, COVID-19, this virus situation is developing overseas. So we actually had to cancel everything and pivot back then, back before people in the States were really taking it seriously. So we kind of joke that it's really been following us around all year. But I guess you could say having a pivot isn't really unfamiliar to us anymore as a group.
Wow. That's incredible. And so then it was aired on Good Morning America. And so tell me a little bit more about just what's it been like since you recorded this? Was it on Zoom, you said?
So we made it look like we were on a Zoom conference call. But,
cool.
Right. So because of Wi-Fi, different Wi-Fi speeds and whatnot, it would have been actually impossible to do it live.
Wow.
But basically, we got all the guys to record on their iPhones and then kind of stitch together all the videos and put out a video.
It ain't my fault that I'm out here making moves. Oh, yeah.
It's been amazing. I mean, just to see the reaction that it's caused. We really didn't expect anything, but we have people reaching out to us saying, thank you guys so much. Obviously things are tough right now, but you guys brought some joy to my day. We'd love to see more videos. I think as it is with a lot of student groups around the country, springtime is really when you reap the benefits of all the hard work you've put in throughout the entire year. So to have that abrupt cutoff in the spring was definitely disappointing at first.
Yeah,
but
I can imagine.
I think putting out our video as an example has really inspired a lot of other groups across the country. Hey, we can do this too. We don't have to be physically together to put something like this together. So it's definitely been humbling and inspiring for us.
Wow. Man, that's really encouraging and inspiring to me. Yeah, if you could send that to us, we'll link it in this video for people to watch.
Absolutely
That'd be awesome. And I love the fact that you use the words pivot, right? Because all of us have a choice when something like this happens that's outside of our control. We can either allow it to affect, our mindset, which we'll dive into, and go down, really a road that doesn't serve us well, in our mission, in the direction that we're headed. Or we can pivot, like you said, and say, hey, you know what? The mission doesn't have to change, but the method can. And it sounds like that's exactly what you guys did, which is so cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So Matt, I actually never met you before, right? Today this is one of the first times that we're talking, and but I came across you on YouTube. There was a pretty inspiring YouTube video that we came across, just kind of going down a rabbit hole, as a lot of people do on YouTube, and was linked to, when you're watching a YouTube video, and then on the side it can kind of give you suggestions. It was on like Gary V YouTube video, and there you were, which is awesome. But I don't want to spoil it. Tell me about that YouTube video, if you would.
Yeah, so the video that you're referring to is probably my video. I think it's titled, I did 30 Murphs in 30 days.
Yeah.
So basically, for every single day, I did a Murph workout, which for those of you who don't know, is a workout that consists of 1 mile run, 300 squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then sandwiched between another mile run.
Wow.
And it's named in, I believe, the honor of a late Navy SEAL, to kind of commemorate the absolute beast of a man he was.
Oh, man. So you did 30 Murphs, which I've done a Murph before. It's extremely hard, so props to you for even doing one, but you did 30, and you did it 30 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It's so funny hearing that it came up as a suggested video on the side of Gary Vee. I think virality is such a weird thing. For 5 to 6 months, that video really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It just kind of sat on my channel, and I considered it a very personal, sort of private win. That really was enough for me. But a few weeks ago, it started picking up traction, and now I think it's at something like 4.5 million views.
Yeah,
which
4.5 million.
Just ridiculous.
Wow. That's incredible, and I love that because that's my story as well. Matt, is when I decided to do my Ironman, which has in turn inspired a lot of people as well. That was very personal for me too.
Right.
It was never to say, hey, I've done an Ironman or have a medal, or to go on and speak to groups of people. It was all, hey, my goal is to grow in every area of my life, and I'm going to do it through this vehicle of training for an Ironman.
Absolutely.
So if you wouldn't mind, Matt, sharing a little bit more about what was the catalyst to you saying, you know what, I am going to challenge myself and do 30 Murph workouts in 30 days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do mention this a bit in my video.
Yeah.
I think for me, at the beginning of my senior year, so I am a senior at Vanderbilt. It feels a bit like I've graduated already because I'm back at home, but technically haven't graduated yet. And I think at the beginning of my senior year, I was in a pretty dark place in my life. I had just gotten out of a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
I was kind of questioning what I wanted to do professionally and whatnot. And after I got to school, I think the biggest catalyst and trigger for me was kind of going back to that a cappella group I mentioned. So I lead that group.
Wow,
and
okay.
Our first rehearsal, I very quickly realized that these are a group of 12 to 14 guys, right? They're looking up to me. And I knew in that moment that, hey, like if I really want to kind of do a good job and do this group justice, I wanted to be able to lead from a place of strength.
Wow.
And I didn't think that I would be able to do that in the mindset I was in. So taking on the Murph challenge was actually just part of a mindset shift that I had to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like at the same time of starting out the Murph, I also started looking into therapy, which I've never really done before. Mm-hmm. Really just trying to fire on all cylinders of how I could pull myself out of this mental funk. But in terms of the Murphs themselves, I thought it was honestly, like I really wasn't aiming for a specific fitness goal or anything. I just felt as if I was in a very stagnant sort of dark place in my life, and I wanted to be able to move. In this case, literally, right? So, like literally getting up and moving and doing a Murph workout every day. And I think through that process, obviously the fitness came as a cherry on top, but it was really definitely a mental shift for me, trying to build up that discipline. And by the end of it, I really felt as if the transformation was very much internal rather than external.
Wow. Okay. There's so much there. I love that. Okay. So, you talked about discipline, right? So you built this discipline. At some point, this started with like the motivation, correct? Like there was the motivation to say, I need to change, right? So talk to me about the process from going from being motivated to do this to actually creating the discipline to actually fulfill the full 30 days. Because that's motivation, in my opinion, gets you to start, but it takes discipline to actually finish what you started. So walk me through that process, because I'm assuming that you probably faced some difficult times during that 30 days.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially being, I was trying to balance the responsibilities of a full-time student. So as you'll see in parts of the video, I mean, there were times I would get home at like 4:30 a.m. Or other times where I would have like a really sort of packed day. So the only time I could do the actual Murph was at 4:30 a.m.
Wow.
So I really had to kind of structure my day around the workouts. But in terms of the motivation and discipline you're talking about, I totally agree with you. I think that there definitely has to be that sort of initial motivation, and kind of going back to what I was talking about before, for me, that came down to, I knew that I really wanted to do the group I lead at school is some justice, and I knew that these guys were looking up to me, and I wanted to be able to lead from a place of strength and confidence.
Yeah.
So that was definitely the initial motivation. But I think the interesting thing with discipline is that I'll say that with the Murph itself, definitely the first week is the toughest, just because you're kind of getting into this new routine. Your muscles are so sore.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, there's no end in sight, right? Like you're on day 3 and you're thinking, wow, I have 27 more of these to do.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought what was interesting was like that kind of day-to-day discipline actually built up my motivation as I went.
Wow.
So even by the end of my first week, and definitely it was really, really tough, but I think that even through seeing the results, what I had accomplished mentally and psychologically just through getting up every morning and doing that Murph, actually added to that initial motivation.
Yeah.
It showed me like, wow, this is working. Even though I was feeling so stagnant in such a dark place, this is definitely, that's moving something along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I love that. Thank you for just sharing a little bit more about that. Cause I've been there before too, right? The first week, as you said, or the first, depending on how long, whatever it is you're doing is, the first couple, percent there is the hardest. You got to get over the initial hump and then begin to kind of build off of the momentum. And it sounds like that's what you did. I love that you said that the why behind it wasn't just the internal aspect of getting you out of this dark place you were in, but really the catalyst was being able to lead from a place of strength and confidence. I think that's crucial, right? And a lot of times I think people try to without having gone through any sort of growth themselves. And so how has that carried on since you've completed your 30 days, 30 Murphs? How have you seen that changed your life in a sense, or the way you lead people and show up on a day-to-day basis?
Well, just thinking about this COVID-19 stuff, I mean, I think the most obvious example for us was receiving that initial email, realizing like, wow, okay, well, the 20 performances or so that we had lined up for the rest of the year are now canceled. I think especially from a graduating senior standpoint, there were so many last moments with the group and college itself that suddenly were so nebulous and possibly gone. So I think that being able to lead through that kind of chaos is definitely crucial. And I honestly don't think I would have been able to take sort of powerful stance on that without going through the Murphs at the beginning of the year.
Wow.
I think realizing like stuff happens, right? It's life. Obviously these are the most extraordinary of circumstances, but even through this sort of storm and chaos, I think the key was being able to pivot and kind of look at the bigger picture of, okay, you know, obviously this is not the most ideal situation. We're not even in the same physical space anymore, but how can we pivot? Is there still value that we can gain here and a lesson to be learned?
Wow. I love that. Yeah. And yeah, that's so crucial because, you know, I think for a lot of people, this COVID-19 could either be the cherry on top of what was already maybe not a good year, right? Or a lot of things happening in their life. But for you, it was different because you had just gone through this transformation that really built you up as a leader. And this didn't take you out, right? You did pivot. You led these group of guys, and now it's turned into something even more amazing that has encouraged what I'm assuming is a larger reach than you would have had if this didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It definitely sucked.
Totally.
But,
oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It was devastating.
Yeah.
But I think definitely because of that Murph challenge and what the growth I had to go through then, it really helps me to realize that even through this most unusual, absurd, strange time, that there was still things that we could do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So in your video, because I've watched it and we'll link it in this video as well. You know, you've already touched on, you know, what kind of led you obviously to starting this. Would you touch on a little bit of during the process? What did you go through specifically, you know, mentally or with your mindset from, you know, start to finish? And, you know, how has that continued to carry on in your life?
Yeah. So you'll see this in the actual video, but I think it's been a while since I've actually watched it myself. But I believe on day one, before I start my first Murph, I fully acknowledge how much it is going to suck.
Totally. Yep.
I think I say something like, wow, this is going to suck so much. But I think I also realize that, I think I also definitely realize the lessons that I could learn from the experience. And that's definitely been a mindset that I've been able to cultivate during my time in college. But I think fully expecting like, wow, this is not going to be an easy experience, but there is something to be learned on the other side. There's growth to be had. Yeah, was what kept me going. And definitely after going through those first 7 days, which were definitely the toughest, just from a muscle standpoint and really motivating myself to do so, I think seeing the results of that hard work really started to build up and add up. In terms of the actual process, like I was saying, those first few days were definitely tough, but I think what also really helped me, so at school, you know, I had 3 roommates I was living with, and they were watching me go through this transformation. And I think having that sort of select group of guys that I trusted and knew had my back and were watching me go through the process and hold me accountable, that was definitely a huge motivating factor as well. Yeah.
So, Matt, you just said something pretty crucial. You talked about your roommates and the fact that it was really beneficial to have them in your corner, in a sense.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that and the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people.
I think for me, you know, these guys were familiar with my story from the start, so they actually knew the kind of dark place and my mindset I was coming from. And so throughout the entire journey, were really encouraging me to follow through. And I think eventually, you know, it became like wow, I don't want to let these guys down. And really holding me accountable, but also I think just knowing that these were guys I trusted, that they had my back, and that they were able to see me through this journey was definitely a motivating factor in itself. I mean, every step along the way, my friend Ruben, my roommate Ruben, actually joined me on many of those runs. and I believe he pops up a few times in the video as well.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, without them, I really don't know what would have happened exactly, but definitely having them in my corner was a huge motivating factor as well. Just having that sense of community.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I love that. And I think, so, you know, what I've realized, Matt, during this time, right? COVID-19, we're all, you know, kind of, I don't want to say stuck, but we're at our house, you know, for the most part. We're not doing much. How have you continued to stay connected with, you know, those friends that you know, my assumption is have continued to be a big part of your life since then, as they were before. How have you continued to make that aspect of community a very important part of your life?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I saw an article on Vanity Fair, maybe it was Variety a few days ago, about how this quarantine is actually allowing people to really connect with their friends, old and new, maybe even some long lost ones. So, I mean, beyond my roommates, who I do text on a regular basis, I've been able to connect with some friends I had in high school who I've lost touch with. And it honestly, I mean, it's a tough situation for everyone, but to be able to have this time to really, I guess, I mean, there's not much else we can do but sit at home, right?
Totally, yeah.
So just being able to sit and reflect has definitely been, I would almost say, like a blessing in some way.
Yeah.
Just to be able to have this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's been cool too, you know, for me, being able, you know, what we have as resources with FaceTime, Zoom, you know what I mean, is I always took it for granted, and now I realize, like, wow, we are so well connected in this day and age, and I think it just helps so much in a times like this. So that's really cool. So question for you. I like to hear, you know, you're a leader. You know, you're a senior at Vanderbilt. You went through this 30 days, 30 Murphs. You grew a ton from it. So what type of daily habits or disciplines do you have that keep you moving forward, that keep you in that right mindset that you learned, which is a discipline in itself? So what do you do on a daily basis that just helps you get your day going?
I think I'll touch on two things here. Okay. One side being very just practical and actionable, the other just kind of being a mindset.
Yeah,
I think for me, I think I especially realized with that Murph and whatnot that I actually really do love the kind of waking up early, having the morning to myself, because I realized that, you know, as the rest of the world wakes up, it's really easy to kind of get lost in the sauce. You know, so many different people or events or things that just really pull at your attention every which way. And so to have that morning to myself was really crucial. The Murph, as tough as it was, kind of became like a thing I look forward to every day, just me time.
Yeah.
So I think even now, especially in quarantine, to be able to have that morning, I mean, man, I hope you don't mind if I share this, but so I'm actually at home now with my younger brother, I mean, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's roommate.
Wow.
So both of them are from Shanghai and hadn't really nowhere to go. So all of a sudden, I find myself at home with all these new roomies.
Yeah.
And so to have that me time in the morning has become even more crucial.
Absolutely.
I think the other thing for me would be, you know, something that I really realized during my time in college and eventually pushed me to do something like the Murph challenge. When I feel uncomfortable about a certain situation, I think for me, it generally makes me believe that I'm on the right track. So during my junior year, the fall of my junior year, I actually studied abroad in Seville, Spain. And I could have chosen a really sort of metropolitan, sort of more Americanized program, say in like Barcelona or Copenhagen, where all of the Americans went. But I kind of went rogue and went on a limb to choose like the hardest program possible. So kind of not knowing anyone, was thrown into this host family situation where I was attending the local university right along all of the other Spanish students. And I remember so clearly my first night there, I somehow got in at 2 a.m., which was later than I expected, and I was so excited and really kind of expecting to speak Spanish and understand Spanish. And I remember getting in my taxi, just not being able to understand the word, and basically couldn't even communicate my Airbnb address. So kind of pulling it up on my phone, pointing to it, saying this is where I'm trying to go.
Wow.
And so the taxi driver ends up dropping me off in the wrong place, right? It's 2 a.m. I'm this American 21-year-old with my luggage in hand.
Wow.
My phone's about to die. I'm wandering the streets of Seville at night, and I'm not able to get in touch with my Airbnb host.
Wow.
And I remember feeling yes, this is exactly what I signed up for.
I love that.
It was so awesome. It was kind of funny at the time, and honestly, I'll probably never tell that story to my parents.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of mindset definitely keeps me going throughout the day, and eventually pushed me to do the Murph as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew how much it was going to suck, but I also knew how much I could learn from the experience. Yeah.
Wow. I love that, and I actually just wrote that down. When you're uncomfortable, it makes you believe that you're on the right track. That in itself is a mindset. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And the fact that it's 2 a.m., you don't know where the heck you are. You can't really communicate with anyone. I feel like a lot of people, honestly, myself probably included, I'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This is horrible. So tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, what did you do? And would you say that is that how you are on a daily basis? Do you just choose to say, well, this could either suck, or I could say, yes, I'm on the right track?
Yeah, I think, man, it was definitely worrisome. I mean, I was wandering around the streets alone, but I think going into it with that mindset of I mean, it's exactly what I had signed up for, right? I had chosen, I guess, a more academically, culturally immersive program where I couldn't speak English if I wanted to. So I think kind of aligning myself with the Murph challenge as well, right? Knowing that, hey, there are going to be moments during this experience where I'm probably going to be really uncomfortable. I'm not sure what's going to be happening, but I knew that I was going to be able to grow a lot. And I think on a daily basis for me, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the channel Yes Theory. Yeah,
I'm a little bit familiar, but not super familiar.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting because, one of their, kind of like your story, Levi, one of their guys really set out on a fitness journey for himself and trained for an Ironman. So, that's definitely one of my life goals as well, to be able to train and do one of those. Awesome. But I think, their mantra is really sort of seek discomfort. And I think that's definitely bled into my daily mindset as well. If it makes me uncomfortable, it probably makes me think that I'm on the right track. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean that in the sense of, okay, I'm in a dangerous situation and I'm scared. Yeah. And maybe I should just full send this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really apply to every situation, but I think especially when it pertains to learning and challenging yourself, it's definitely the right mindset to have, at least for me.
Absolutely. No, I love that. And that's obvious, or also a mindset that I have learned along my journey as well. And I think you're right, because, it sounds cliche, but it's very true. It's like growth doesn't happen in comfort zones, right? It just doesn't. And so when you seek out growth, like you did with your 30 days, 30 Murphs, or I did with my Ironman, or the guy on Yes Theory did, know that discomfort is just part of it, right?
Yeah, man, you have to check out Yes Theory.
I'm going to. You got me all fired up now, especially because now I know that you have a goal to do an Ironman someday. That is awesome, man. You got to do it.
I absolutely want to.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'd be your biggest fan, man. It's you could do it. Knowing that you did 30 days, 30 Murphs. I mean, you'll be training more than 30 days, but you have what it takes for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Matt, man, this has been so awesome, and I'm just really inspired by you. I'm inspired by your mindset, the fact that you're a full-time student at Vanderbilt, which in and of itself is a lot of work, and now you're being asked to do that at home. You know, I'm just really inspired by your story. And so right now, all of us are at home. We're quarantined. Our world has been flipped on its head. You know, goals we had may or may not have changed. You know, timetables for different things. You know, graduations have been canceled. All of these different things. There's a lot of what I've noticed. A lot of negativity, and there's a lot of people that are living in fear. What's your encouragement, or what is helping you? I guess both. For during this time, and then what's your encouragement for the people that may be listening to this who either have a goal like 30 days, 30 Murphs, or are a senior in high school or college, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your encouragement for them? Because you've experienced quite a bit, and you're in the thick of it right now, and your mindset I'm hearing is infectious.
Thank you so much, man. You know, I honestly want to go a little deeper into just exactly how my year ended.
Yes,
I think it's
please
a
do.
Hilarious story. So basically, you know, I think especially as a graduating senior, and man, my heart goes out to all the seniors across the country. But within the span of 3 days, I effectively had to say goodbye to all the friends I had made. All of the potential last moments I was going to have as a graduating senior. And really college itself is a chapter in my life where I knew that shaped me so much and transformed me so much. It was really hard to say goodbye so quickly, so abruptly. I mean, I'm not sure how it is for most universities, but Vanderbilt isn't even going to have a graduation ceremony.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was
That's
really
tough.
crazy. And somehow, some way, my final day of college actually ended up on my 22nd birthday. So there we were. Yeah, it was March 12th, and it somehow ended up as my last day in college. It was so ridiculously timed, but even on our 10-hour drive home from Nashville to Chicago, we somehow got stuck in Kentucky because there was this tornado warning going on, and man, it really could not.
Wow.
It was out of a movie. It was out of my movie.
Yeah.
And so my brother was telling me, like, I can't believe this is happening to you right now.
Yeah, totally.
But, I think for me, my words of encouragement would be, you know, even in the toughest of situations, and granted, I think I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I have a roof over my head and I have a home to go back to. And, but I think my biggest piece of advice or words of encouragement for everyone would be, just because you're at home doesn't mean that you have to stop growing or learning. I think actually, you know, it's so rare in life that we have this time to just sit and reflect. And I think that there's definitely, you know, if there's a goal that you've been meaning to get on or something that you've been meaning to look into, that this is definitely a great time to do so. I think part of the reason why the Murph video actually, I think had a recent spike in virality, like after its initial spike, was because of this whole quarantine situation, and people were looking into, man, you know, now I'm at home. What can I still do? And I think that the Murph definitely is a workout that you can carry anywhere with you. And so beyond the Murph, I mean, I think that there are definitely other ways to challenge yourself and grow during this time at home as well.
Wow. I love that, man. I think a lot of people are going to be encouraged. I have like 2 pages of notes here just because your things you've said have stuck with me and is encouraging me as we talk. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you have to stop learning. I love that. So my last question for you then before I let you go, Matt, is what's 1 or 2 things that you're continuing to do or you're learning or maybe relearning during this time?
Learning or relearning? I think, you know, one of the things that I especially at school and in my daily life, I really kind of like to go, go, go. I'm not sure if you can tell from our conversation, but I think, you know, even just sitting and resting and reflecting, there's definitely a lot that can be learned from that as well. And so I think for me, literally being forced to sit at home, right?
Yeah.
Is definitely something I'm learning, definitely something I'm trying to get better at every day. In terms of relearning, wow. Maybe just how to live in the same house as my parents.
Totally. Hey, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, there's a lot of people who are having to relearn that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. I'm very similar to you, Matt. I'm a go, go, go type of guy, and something I've learned during this time is to consider a blessing is the opportunity to slow down and to think and to process and to create. And so, man, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, Matt, you're inspiring. Your story's inspiring. I think that's evident by, you know, you have a video that has gone viral.
I appreciate that.
By you just stepping up and leading your a cappella group. You're now reaching thousands and thousands of people from that. And so keep going, man. I'm encouraged. I'm inspired. Even though we just met, I hope we can continue a friendship because you are someone that I want to.
Absolutely.
You're someone I want to learn from, man. So
thank you so much for reaching out. I mean, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really couldn't have expected all the attention that the video has gotten. Because like I was saying earlier, right, it was very private, very personal win.
Yeah.
But to be able to have this chance to talk on the show and hopefully get some words of encouragement out there is thanks to you guys. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm excited just for your journey as you keep moving forward, man. And again, thank you for joining us, Matt. And you have an awesome day. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Hey, everyone. I'm really That's some good B-roll right there. I just look at my hand.